What did Jesus mean when he said he came to fulfill the law? Dr. Paul Sloan answers that question in this short video. Hey guys, if you've been following my channel for long, you know that I am passionate about solid biblical scholarship. I rely heavily on scholarly books and papers in my own work, and I love exposing people to good scholarship. You also know that I am obsessed with seeing Jesus and Paul within the Judaism of their time, and how, contrary to popular opinion, the New Testament authors, including Paul, affirm the ongoing relevance of the Torah, the law of Moses. Neither Jesus nor the apostles stopped keeping the law or did away with it. So, in light of my passion for biblical scholarship and my obsession with this particular biblical topic, I want to highlight recent scholarship on this topic, on the topic of the law of Moses in the New Testament. I will be showing you guys videos and reading excerpts from scholarly papers and books that promote what I like to call a pronomian, that is a pro-law perspective. There is a ton of great scholarship that has been done in this area that you guys should really be aware of if you are interested in this topic. So today we're going to hear from Dr. Paul Sloan. Dr. Sloan is an author and the assistant professor of theology at Houston Christian University. And in this clip, he talks about Matthew 5:17, where Jesus said he came to fulfill the law. Dr. Sloan argues that Jesus' coming to fulfill the law does not imply that Jesus did away with the law. Rather, he came to show us what true Torah observance looks like. So make sure you check out the entire interview, which is linked below, and I hope you guys enjoy.
So I think sometimes people point to a passage like Jesus talking about coming to fulfill the law as a way of saying well, if I have Jesus, then the law is nullified in some way. That might be a common understanding that you've encountered. And the expression on your face tells me that's not the first time somebody brought that up to you. What about that? So what do you say to that person? Of course, I've heard you talk about this, so I don't.
So you don't buy into this atrocious view? No. It's common from Matthew 5:17-20. He says, "Don't think I came to abolish the law. I came to fulfill," etc. And then he gives what's often called the Sermon on the Mount from 5:21 and following. And the way I often heard this sermon preached in various contexts, both actually academic and from the pulpit, was that the Sermon on the Mount is there is designed to make you feel shame, basically, to shame you into realizing, oh wow, the standard is so high, I could never do that. And so then you come to the conviction that, I need something else, not law related. I need something like a Pauline grace or something. The mistake that makes, of course, is that assumes that grace isn't operative in the law itself, or that grace isn't operative in the Sermon on the Mount. I mean, Jesus is there giving high legal standards, but is also requiring forgiveness of his people, right? He's the one saying, now forgive this way and do this. So forgiveness is an assumed aspect of the covenantal relationship between Jesus and his disciples and God and his community and all that sort of stuff. And particularly with that issue of I didn't come to abolish but to fulfill. The irony is that, and a lot of people, the way that they take it, when they hear, oh, Jesus came to fulfill it, they interpret it to mean he came to fulfill it on my behalf, so I don't have to, right? That sort of thing. So the irony is, it interprets Jesus to be saying, I didn't come to abolish the law by not doing it. I came to fulfill it and thereby abolish it so that you don't have to. That sort of thing. So they actually still end up sort of endorsing this abolition view by Jesus' fulfilling it. So the mistake, I think, is the stuff I've already said, that the Gospels are presenting Jesus not as sort of abdicating the law or saying that you don't have to do it. It's actually quite the opposite explicitly in Matthew, when the guy comes up to Jesus and says, what do I to do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus' response is, keep the commandments. Matthew 19. And so the other mistake is actually just lexical. The word fulfill in that text, I think it's plerosai. When that's coupled with the word commandment, it almost always just basically means do. I came to do this. I came to do the law. And once you've got all the other pieces in the picture on the board, as it were, it becomes plain that Jesus is yes coming to do it, but in so doing he's also exemplifying what it means to do it, so that his disciples can imitate him. And that becomes the basic thing. I mean, Jesus is telling his disciples, like, do what I do, right? Come learn from me. This is Matthew 10 or 11. Come learn from me, the end of Matthew 11. Come learn from me, place my yoke upon your shoulders and learn from me. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. So he's not saying come just sort of attach yourself to me so that you don't have to worry about obedience or law keeping or anything. He's actually presenting himself as the authoritative interpreter of the law itself.